I'm John Buchanan. Now what we're going to do within this video is to look at the new chord track which exists within Logic 12. Actually, I always say new, and you might be watching this video 18 months from now and it won't be new and it will have updated. So I shouldn't use the word new, but today it's relatively new. Okay, so this is a feature that people have been asking for in Logic for a long time. The idea that what we can do is to record some MIDI and have Logic analyze the chords that have been played and turn those into a chord track. And the reason why this is potentially really powerful is because it won't just do this with MIDI that you play, but it will attempt to analyze audio that you drag and drop. So if you're working with samples from Splice, or if you're bringing in something from a good old-fashioned sample CD, because once again it's 1994, then it will in theory analyze that, turn it into a chord progression, and you can then apply that to MIDI regions. Potentially really exciting. It also goes without saying that this, from Apple's perspective, is a really important feature in terms of driving its session players too. You know how I feel about those. At least if you don't, maybe this look will tell you. And we're going to look at that within this video a little bit as well. So let's get down to business, as someone wiser than me once said. I'm going to make a recording of some piano, and I'm deliberately going to record something that has got some kind of broken chordiness to it, just to see what happens when the analysis of that takes place. Enough chat, now play. So you know a little bit around the houses. What I'm actually going to do is to quantize this as well. I just do kind of want this piano part to be in time, because it's always a bit sickening to hear what you've done played back badly by yourself. Okay, what I'm going to do is to open up the global tracks area. Now you can see the chord track is waiting for us right here. And in order to analyze my chord progression, all I need to do is to take my MIDI file and drop it here. And this would also be true if this had been an audio file and this is a loop from somewhere. And what has happened is that Logic has identified the chords that I've played. And I think it's done that accurately. And because I quantized it, all of those chord moves, interestingly, are on the downbeats, but you can see that it's sort of ignored the fact that obviously there is chord movement in terms of the way that I've broken these chords up. Why am I labouring this point? Well, before we get to the ways in which I think Apple think we're most likely to apply a chord track, i.e. with the session players, it is kind of worth bearing in mind that if I was to simply take the chord track and drag it downwards into an empty area underneath the piano part, what Logic's going to do is to create a new MIDI region. And as you can see, because it's only taken that from the chords and not from the original piano part, I get this kind of block chord approach to the way that that might work. So if I wanted to, for instance, set up a kind of retro synth pad type of a sound, I've got a horrible feeling this is going to become like the most sort of 80s production of all time, but let's just go with it for now. What I'm going to do is to come into here, find the synth pads, we'll go for the big chill out pad. I bet it's going to be loud. Let's turn it down a little bit, and what we now get is kind of the broken piano original with the kind of blocked chord nature of what this pad sound might be. It's like I put you on hold. I apologise for that. But you can see that what's happened is that I don't just have a replica of the original piano part. I've always been able to take a MIDI region and copy it to another instrument. That's fine. But now the analysed chords are the thing that I've copied. And is there a way that that could be valuable and of use in a kind of context that's outside of the session players? Well, maybe. I mean, I suppose now that I've got kind of fixed MIDI like this, I could quite quickly select everything, but maybe what I could do would be to, in fact, I could do this. Instead of selecting everything, I'm just thinking out loud. Can you tell? What we could do would be to go to edit and select, and maybe we could just select the lowest notes, and then we could invert the selection and get rid of that. And now I've got the kind of bass of each chord note. I could do that, for instance, and potentially that is valuable. I could now apply that to, I don't know, a cello part or a bass line or something, and suddenly the notes have been extracted. Albeit, it is true that in the original part that I played, the lowest note was there all along. But if that had moved, I still think that actually this process that we've just been through would work. So that's potentially something of use. Okay, what I'm going to do is to mute that track. We need no more pad. I think we're agreeing with that. Now, of course, it goes without saying that if I was to create a brand new track and I was to make that a bass player from the session world, let's go with modern Motown, because why not? And what I then do is to create a region and obviously make it the same length as the region that I've created, starting in the same bar and ending in the same bar. I don't need to do anything here. It's going to just follow the chord progression. Now, by default, it's doing that. Up here in the top left-hand corner, this little drop-down menu in the region editor is going to be important to us. The chord track is the thing that is determining what the bass player does, and that's going to sound like this. Ooh, tantalizing leading note, last note there in the bass. And of course I can use the session player parameters down here to configure that bass line, make it more complex or less, or play with more or less intensity. I can follow the chord rhythm of the way that I've played, all the stuff that the session players are designed to do. And as we know from previous videos, obviously I can keep going. If I decide I also want a drummer, then I can have that too. I definitely want a roots songwriter. I think that's clear. That was clear from the outset. And I'm going to just drag this back here, and we're in great shape, although we've got an extra bar on the end. That's what happens if you start your track in bar 2. The session players don't like that as much as if you start in bar 1, I've noticed. That leading note is kind of annoying me a little bit now, but it's fine. As discussed before, there's quite a lot that annoys me about the session players. I'm going to get away from this, I promise, very shortly. Okay, so what else can I potentially do with my chord track? Can I apply it to other types of data within Logic? I hate talking about pieces of music as pieces of data, but cells of MIDI information. Well, it turns out kind of, yeah, I can. So I'm going to come up to the loop library, and what I'm going to do in the show all sound packs area is I'm going to just go looking for patterns, and I'm specifically looking for anything. Let's come out of here. I'm looking for anything which looks like a sequence pattern, like this one. This little purple icon, this little grid type shape is a step sequence. And if I drag that into my project, what I'm going to discover is that I've got a step sequence ready to go, doing its thing. And like most of the step sequences, as you would expect, it has been programmed with a collection of chords. So whenever you make a step sequence of your own, you're going to choose the scale you want to work with, all that good stuff. And obviously by default, it turns out that the chord progression that is associated with the puddle pattern, which is the one that I've brought in here, I think one we've seen before actually, is that it's not in any way relating to the chord track that I've just created. I'm in C major, this is in B flat major, this isn't going to sound so great. And it stops early. Now, the second chord doesn't sound so bad, and the reason for that is that actually it turns out that we're B flat major over F, so there's a kind of F-ness, there's a word I've never used before, to this pattern, which of course is going to fit a little bit with our F chord here, but it would be nice if we could apply the chord track to the puddle pattern overall. And I think I can. What I can do is to click on this up here, and then I can come to the pitch source, and here I can select the chord track. And what that's going to do is it's going to remove the established chord from the original pattern. And what it's going to do instead, I hope, is to real-time transpose this pattern sequence to the chords from the chord track. If this works, this is nice, right? Well, that's pretty exciting. Now, why are there little discrepancies? Well, there are going to be. Remember, the puddle pattern, which I didn't make, it's a preset. Yes, there are going to be the notes from C major in it, but probably it's going to have some other stuff too. Maybe there's a D in there, for instance, a note within the scale of C major, or an F, another note within the scale of C major, but not a C, an E, or a G. Music theory time. If only there were a free course about that at learn.johnnybuchananmusic.com. Anyway, the pattern is going to contain incidental notes from the scale, which are going to feel a little bit clashy, but we can clearly hear that it's moving in time with what the sequence is doing. That feels pretty good and pretty exciting. So what happens if we decide that what we want to do is to start working with Apple loops instead, things that are pitch-based, but that maybe are audio files rather than pattern files? Okay, well, let's go and find one of those. And let's start with something monophonic. So what I'm interested to do next is to come to the instruments, and maybe what we'll do is we'll search for basses. In fact, maybe just let me see if I can find a bass sound. Anything here. There are going to be so many basses, aren't there? I should have pre-prepared this. Windmill bass you will do. You are going to be our tuning fodder. Okay, what I'm going to do is to import this part. Now, the reason why I've started with the bass is it's a monophonic part, one note. And as I suspected, we've just heard a little bit of that pattern. We can see that it's been tagged in the key of G minor. Fine, so that's okay. And we can also see that there is a chord progression which is here sort of baked into this file, so it's got chords that are associated with it as well. So what I want to do now is to choose the chord track and apply it to this bass line. So what I'm going to do is to come up here again, I'm going to come to pitch source, and it's not available. If this was a different type of YouTube channel, I'd get Will to put one of those moments. I should sort of do that myself, I feel. Now then, why isn't it available? Well, actually, that's a question I don't have the answer to. If it turns out I'm missing something here, do please shout at the screen or leave it in the comments. Now, what I am going to do is to dive into a menu to see if I can fix it somewhere else, but it sort of feels like with a monophonic file, it should be possible to apply the chord track to this chord progression. Feels like it should be. Okay, what I'm going to do is come here and I'm going to control click this file and I'm going to come down to chords. So there's a little drop down menu here which is available to me. Now, interestingly, within there what I can do is I can analyze the chords and I can apply them to the chord track. And in fact, I could, of course, as we've already established, take this file, drag it up to the chord track, and even if it wasn't one of Apple's loops, Apple will do its, the chord analyzer would do its best to work out what the chords were and provide me with a chord progression. Great. But I want to do the opposite. I want to take an existing chord progression and apply it here. So let's dive back into here for a second, come to chords. And yeah, sure enough, I can analyze the chords. I can analyze the key signature. I can apply the region chords to the chord track, the opposite of the thing I'm trying to do. I can cut the region chords. Okay, so if I do that, they presumably vanish. Right, so can I now apply the chords? I still can't. So I've undone the chord progression that was baked into that file, but I still can't analyze or apply the chord track from here. And I think I'm right in saying that, of course, I can't just drag this down to here and dump it on top of there. No, what it's done is it's turned it into a MIDI region and put a MIDI region on top of the windmill bass audio track. So that's no good to me either. Let's undo that step. Let's undo the previous one as well. So unless I'm missing something, in which case, please tell me. And if it's embarrassing because it's really obvious, we'll just take this video down and pretend it never got made. But this does feel like the next step, the next evolution for potentially how chord tracks could be of value to be able to apply them within this kind of a context. And of course, it goes without saying that I can't do this with any audio files, and not just with monophonic stuff like a bass line, but obviously with chord-based material as well. But of course, there is one thing we can do, which is kind of great. So this is another way that we could potentially use the chord track. And of course, I'm going to do this with an Apple loop, but in theory, you can do this with any piece of audio. If I drag this skyline strings part into my project and just drop it somewhere, what I'm going to do is, fine, I can import or not the tempo information if I want to. I'm not going to import that. But what I am going to do is drag this audio file up to the chord track. Now, this is pretty great. The idea that I can analyze this and pull out the chord progression, and that chord progression will then appear at the bottom of the skyline string. So suddenly that is there. That is quite exciting, I think. Let's have a listen to it. Okay, and because this is waiting to go, let's see what happens when I drag it down to a MIDI region. Okay, and I might decide that what I really want to do is to have those quantize on half beats so that they really do arrive on the chord progression points. And that one's early. But you take my point, suddenly we've got analyzed audio, and that's really great. If you're somebody who works with samples from kind of all over the place, including stuff that hasn't been tagged with chord progressions from the loop library, then the idea that we can just drag and drop that, get an immediate analysis, and then make that something that's available to MIDI regions, that is amazing and pretty impressive. And it definitely kind of hints at a kind of polyphonic analysis. The idea that there is a kind of spectral analysis that's happening here that is able to determine not just root notes, but chords. And I wonder if that means that in time, some of the things that I'd really like to see the chord analyzer be able to do that it can't currently do are coming. So for instance, what would be amazing now would be if I could drag in a kind of synth pad or a running series of 16th notes that maybe were chord based, put them into my project, I'm talking about an audio file here, and have the chord progression be applicable to that, potentially even revoicing a major chord as a minor chord or vice versa. That would be sophisticated stuff. But the analysis here suggests that maybe the beginnings of that might be possible. That really will have incredible implications for how we work with audio and a reimagining of the kind of stuff that's possible. And before you say to me, but Jono, that's impossible, in a kind of, I don't know, some exciting sort of superhero kind of a way that you might say that, polyphonic melodyne exists, the idea that we can revoice notes within a chord, that technology does exist. And so the fact that that might be coming to Logic, I'm not saying it is, how can I possibly know? But suppose it were to, that does feel like the next development. For now, I would definitely feel like a monophonic audio file potentially should be something that the chord progression could impose its will onto, so that the bass lines of monophonic audio had the potential to track the chord options. I'd like to see that available. But maybe it already is and I've missed it, in which case you can tell me all about it in the comments. But I think the fact that the chord progression track is here, or the chord track is here at all, is great news. I have lost count of the times that I've written a piece of music and I've had to put the chord progression in the notes section over here on the right hand side, so that as I'm jamming along the next part and I'm writing strings alongside pianos, I'm making sure that I'm following exactly the chords that I want to be working with. Well, I'm really glad I'm not going to need to use the notepad anymore, and the fact that those chords are going to be there on the chord track, that's a massive step forward. And there's lots of stuff like the fact that the patterns will follow these chord progressions that I'm excited about too. Again, I find myself saying this a lot recently, it feels like this technology is a massive step forward, but with potentially really interesting steps still to come. It could be some of them have already been taken and I've missed them, in which case I'm sure you'll tell me all about them in the comments. Otherwise, that's what we're looking at when we're working with the chord track.